Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into A.R. Barton's really poignant short story Going Places. It's this fascinating look into the powerful and, sometimes kind of perilous imagination of a teenage girl.
All right, so let's get right into it. We meet our main character, Sophie, just as she's getting home from school. And she doesn't just walk in. Oh no, she practically bursts in with this huge, bold declaration. Notice it's not if I leave, it's when. This one line, it tells you everything you need to know about her right away. She is a dreamer, and her dreams are absolutely massive. But almost immediately, Sophie's world gets defined by this sharp, almost brutal clash between her grand ambitions and her much, much more modest working class life. It's that classic battle, right, between what she wants for herself and what the world seems to have already decided for her. And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It perfectly shows the huge gap between these two worlds. I mean, look at the left side. You've got this glittering list of possibilities. A boutique owner, an actress, a fashion designer. Then you look to the right, and bam, there's the stark reality. A future earmarked for the biscuit factory, a cramped, steamy home, and a dad who's always there to remind her money doesn't grow on trees. And it isn't just her family, you know? Even her best friend, Janzi, kind of acts as this constant reality check. She's always gently reminding Sophie that, hey, they're both destined for the biscuit factory. Now, Janzi isn't trying to be mean. She's just being practical, trying to get her to be sensible. And you can totally see where that practicality comes from when you look at their environment. The story describes her house as steamy and cluttered, with dirty washing piled up in the corner. It feels physically and emotionally suffocating, and you can just feel Sophie's desperation to escape it all. This desperation is what pushes her towards the one person who seems to represent a world beyond all that, her quiet older brother, Joff. Okay, so let's see how this deep, deep need for an escape actually ends up fueling Sophie's biggest fantasy yet, a story that she creates specifically for her brother. So, to make her life feel more exciting, and this is really crucial, to try and build a connection with Jeff, Sophie cooks up a secret. And at the heart of this secret is a classic object of teenage hero worship, the young, super talented football prodigy, Danny Casey. So she finds Jeff in the garage working on his motorcycle, and she just drops this bombshell. She says it so casually, but it's completely designed to get his attention, to pull him into her world. She actually claims to have met their shared hero, in person. So why Jeff? Why him? Well, to Sophie, Jeff is the key. He's older, he's got a motorcycle, he travels to the other side of the city for his job. In her mind, he has this whole other life filled with interesting people and places she's never seen. Sharing this huge secret with him is her way of trying to get a ticket into that world. Of course, when her dad eventually hears about the story, his reaction is, well, it's exactly what you'd expect. He's completely dismissive. He has this look of disdain, and he just immediately writes it off as another one of her wild stories, even telling her she's going to talk herself into a load of trouble. And here is the crucial point. Backed into a corner by her family's total disbelief, Sophie doesn't back down. No way. She doubles down and expands the fantasy. She tells Jeff that not only did she meet Danny Casey, but he asked her on a date. He's going to meet her next week. The lie just got a whole lot bigger. And this brings us to the emotional climax of the whole story. This is where Sophie's carefully built fantasy world is about to collide, really painfully, with the real one. And on the day of this supposed date, can you believe it? She actually goes. She walks all the way to this quiet spot by the canal, a place filled with childhood memories that she thinks is just perfect for this secret romantic meeting. She sits down under a solitary elm and just waits for a boy she has never even met. For a little while, she's completely lost in the fantasy, imagining him arriving, picturing her own excitement. But as the time ticks by, you can feel the reality of it all starting to creep in. The story says she feels the pangs of doubt stirring inside her. That beautiful hope starts to curdle into this awful, crushing dread. And then, finally, she has to accept it. He's not coming. The incredible weight of her own fantasy just comes crashing down on her. And it's not a story anymore. It's a profound sadness, a hard burden to carry that she now has to somehow live with. But here's what's so interesting about this story, and it's what happens after the disappointment.
This right here is the absolute key to understanding Sophie's character and the real nature of her imagination.
So as she's walking home, totally defeated, you'd think she'd give up the lie, right? Nope. Instead, she retreats right back into her own mind and starts replaying the whole fabricated encounter from the very beginning, reliving every single vivid detail.
And this moment, wow, it just shows you everything about how she copes. She starts adding new, more intimate details to this fake memory. She pictures his shy smile, the gaps between his teeth, his green eyes that are gentle, almost afraid, like a gazelle's. She makes the fantasy even more real, more personal, more precious to her than it was before. The disappointment in reality only made her cling tighter to the dream. So, what's the takeaway here? Why does this story matter so much? Well, it's this powerful and honestly really sympathetic look at why we dream. It shows us how fantasy can be this vital escape from a pretty bleak reality, how hero worship helps us imagine a life beyond what we know, and how all of us, deep down, have this need to feel special, even if it's only in a story we tell ourselves. And that leaves us with this final, really thought-provoking question. I mean, Sophie's fantasy is both her comfort and the source of her deepest sadness. It really makes you wonder, when does a vivid imagination stop being a harmless escape and start becoming a dangerous trap?